Welcome to the TPC desktop video series on using geodetics. In this video, we'll take a quick look at using geodetics in COGO routines. I'm working out of the Geodetic Learning Guide, and I've opened a sample survey called Learn Geodetics. I want to come over here to the Traverse Manager and open up this traverse called East-West True Bearing. So here's a traverse that we've computed geodetically. Notice at the top we're using true bearings and geodetic distance, and our units are in chains. So I've got geodetic positions for each of these points. I'm just going to make sure that everything's recomputed the way we want. And let's go ahead and select points 201 and 202 and go to COGO Random Inverse. Now notice that Traverse PC is displaying information in this dialog box geodetically. So at the top of the dialog I see that this dialog is displaying true bearings and geodetic distance in units of feet. If I come down to the fields in here, notice that I'm seeing a true bearing between points 201 and 202. I'm looking at a geodetic distance between 201 and 202, a geodetic slope distance, and then of course my vertical distance is in survey units or feet. Okay. What I want to show you is this Show Option button right here. I'm going to expand this. I'm going to make a couple of changes here. One, I'd like to display distances in chains, not feet. So notice that the top of the dialog now tells me that this dialog is using chains. If I come down to my distance, both my geodetic distance and my slope distance, they are in chains also. My vertical distance now, just between those 2 points, is displayed in chains as well. I'm still, though, displaying geodetic distance at project elevation and true bearing based on mean course convergence. Let's go ahead and change both of these as well. So I'm going to switch back to grid distance and grid bearing. And I notice that at the top of the dialog box, Traverse PC is telling me I'm working in grid bearing, grid distance, and chains. And if I drop down to the individual fields now, I see that here's a grid bearing and here's a grid distance. So now both the bearing and the distance are based on grid coordinates, not geodetic positions. Let's just do something else here. Let's tell Traverse PC that I wanted to compute a geodetic distance at the ellipsoid surface, and I want to use true bearings based on mean course convergence. Again, Traverse PC tells me that I've got a true bearing, a geodetic distance, and now these distances are based on the selections below. So here's my true bearing. I would expect it to be south 90 west, just like it was in the traverse. Notice the small difference here, though, because 80 chains at the project elevation of 1,500 feet equates to something less, some smaller distance at the ellipsoid surface. In this case, 79.9943 chains. So I can have the information in the COGO dialog box display whatever I want it to. I can work with ellipsoid distances or ground distances at project elevation or grid distances, or really any combinations that are available here. The final thing I want to show you is in the summary button here, and I'll go ahead and move this COGO dialog out of the way. The summary button takes a snapshot of whatever's in the dialog box currently, and I'll just expand this out here a little bit. So here's a random inverse based on true bearings, geodetic distance, and units of chains. And based on this now, Traverse PC displays both the coordinate position and the geodetic position of both of the points. Because I'm working with true bearings, I get a forward bearing and a backwards bearing, so the bearings at either end of this course. And then finally, Traverse PC comes down and tells me that the true bearing is 90 degrees west. Here's my geodetic distance, my slope distance, and the rest of the information that was in the dialog box. Had I chosen different options in the random inverse and then hit summary, I would get a different report here based on the distance type and direction type that I had selected. Now, I'm not going to go into the other COGO dialog boxes, but I want you to look for either hide or show options in the other dialog boxes. And I want to have you watch the title bar of the dialogues, because they'll tell you what distance and direction types you're working in with, what distances or units you're working in, and if you want to change them, just go down to Show Option and change it to what you want. All of these COGOs come up initially based on the project preferences, the distance type and direction type that you selected. But once you've brought them up, you can change them, if need be, to use whatever distance and direction types you want.